The first thing everyone noticed about Amelia Carter was how carefully she walked, as if the floor itself might betray her. She was 18, legally an adult, but there was a quietness about her that made people assume she was younger, weaker, easier to overlook. She wore a simple sky blue dress that her mother had ironed that morning, the fabric neat and modest, sleeves reaching her elbows, the kind of dress chosen to avoid attention rather than attract it. Her hair was tied back in a low braid, not a strand out of place. When she stepped into Lincoln Ridge Academy for the first time, conversations didn't stop, but eyes did follow. Some curious, some judgmental, some sharp with something uglier. Amelia felt it immediately, the invisible pressure that came with being new, different, and alone. She had transferred mid-year after moving cities, and no one here knew her story. No one knew who her father was. And she intended to keep it that way. Her homeroom teacher, Mr. Harold Whitman, stood at the front of the class when she entered. He was in his late 50s, tall, rigid, with thinning grey hair combed sharply to one side and a permanent crease between his brows, as if the world itself offended him. His eyes flicked to Amelia, scanning her from head to toe, lingering just a second too long. The room went quiet as the counselor introduced her. "This is Amelia Carter. She'll be joining us for the rest of the semester. Please make her feel welcome." A few half-hearted murmurs followed. Whitman's lips tightened. "Take the empty seat in the back," he said flatly, not even asking her name again. Amelia nodded and walked, heat crawling up her neck. She sat, folded her hands and stared at the desk, telling herself to stay invisible. The first class passed with small, cutting moments. Whitman corrected her pronunciation when she spoke, even when she was right. He ignored her raised hand, then scolded her for not participating. When another student whispered something cruel about her accent, Whitman pretended not to hear. Amelia absorbed it all silently. She had learned long ago that reacting only fed people like this. What she didn't know was that Whitman had already decided what she represented. To him she was an inconvenience, an outsider, a problem that needed to be put in her place. By the second period the tension had thickened. Whitman was teaching history, his version of it blunt and biased, and when Amelia gently questioned a statement he made, citing a different source she had studied before, the classroom froze. Whitman turned slowly, eyes cold. "I didn't ask for commentary," he said, "especially not from someone who just arrived." Amelia felt the sting, but she didn't argue. She lowered her gaze. A few students smirked. Whitman wasn't done. He walked down the aisle, stopping beside her desk. "You people always think you know better," he muttered, low enough that only those closest could hear. Amelia's hands trembled slightly. She stayed silent. The breaking point came just before lunch. Whitman assigned a presentation, calling on Amelia without warning. She stood, clutching her notebook, voice steady despite her racing heart. She spoke clearly, respectfully, answering the question exactly as asked. For a brief moment the room was quiet, not mocking, not cruel, just listening. Something in Whitman snapped. "That dress," he said suddenly, interrupting her. Amelia faltered. "What?" "School policy," he barked. "Inappropriate, distracting." Gasps rippled through the class. Amelia looked down at herself, confused. The dress was modest, simple, nothing that violated any rule. "Sir, it's within dress code," she said softly. Whitman's face reddened. "Don't argue with me." He stepped closer, fingers gripping the fabric near her shoulder with sudden aggression. "I won't have this kind of disrespect." Time seemed to slow. Students froze in their seats. Amelia's breath caught as Whitman yanked, the sound of fabric tearing sharp and shocking. The rip wasn't revealing in a sexual way, but it was humiliating, violent, unnecessary, public. Amelia staggered back, clutching the torn dress to herself, eyes wide not with fear but disbelief. The room erupted in whispers, some horrified, some thrilled. Whitman stood there breathing hard, as if he'd proven a point. "Sit down," he snapped, "and be grateful I'm lenient." Amelia didn't cry. That was what surprised everyone. Her eyes burned, her chest ached, but she didn't collapse. She stood there, holding the torn fabric together, and for the first time, she looked directly at Whitman, not with submission, but with a quiet, unshakable resolve. "You shouldn't have done that," she said. Her voice didn't shake. Whitman laughed harshly. "You don't get to tell me what I should or shouldn't do." At that exact moment, the classroom door opened. The principal stepped in, his expression tense, followed by a man in a dark, tailored suit, posture commanding, presence heavy enough to pull the air from the room. He was tall, broad-shouldered, his silver-streaked hair neatly cut, his eyes sharp and observant. He took in the scene in a single glance. The torn dress, the stunned students, Amelia standing there holding herself together with dignity alone. His gaze landed on Whitman, and something dangerous flickered behind his calm expression. "Is there a problem here?" the man asked, voice low, controlled. The principal swallowed. "Judge Carter," he said nervously. I didn't expect—" Amelia turned slowly. Her breath left her in a quiet rush. "Dad," she said. The room went dead silent. Whitman's face drained of color. Judge Samuel Carter, federal judge of the United States District Court, stepped forward, eyes never leaving Whitman. "Amelia," he said gently, removing his suit jacket and placing it around her shoulders, covering the torn dress without a word of apology from anyone else. Then he straightened, his full attention locking onto the teacher, who now looked like a man realizing the ground beneath him was about to disappear. "You," Judge Carter said calmly, "will explain exactly why my daughter is standing in this classroom humiliated." Whitman opened his mouth, but no sound came out. For the first time all day he had nothing to say, and everyone in that room understood something had just shifted forever. If you're feeling the power of this moment, if you want to see how justice unfolds when cruelty meets authority, make sure you subscribe to the channel and stay with us, because this story is only just beginning.